Hi all. Clear my throat. I just wanted to do a live video as my latest podcast will be out at I think 5 o'clock today. So as usual, I like to explain myself, just to tell you a little bit more about what I was talking about, or what you can look forward to if you haven't. Well, obviously you haven't heard the podcast yet, but just what you can look forward to in the podcast, which is available on Apple Music, Spotify, Anchor FM, and a few other podcast platforms. If you just look for it, Ignite Your Light with Zara Black, it'll be on there. So I thought this was a really interesting topic. It's kind of a topic that actually fell on me because I was thinking about it in my heart. Like I was thinking about this topic, and it's been like eating at me a few days. Like this is what you should be talking about. This is what you should be talking about. This is what you should be talking about. And then I got a really nice message from somebody on Instagram as well, who was explaining his experiences with spiritual abuse and just religious kind of abuse and this kind of thing, right? And he was saying to me that because of all of that, because of the level of manipulation in those communities and those organizations, that he's very unlikely to make his two daughters kind of follow like a religious kind of line. And I was like, yeah, I completely get it. Like, I 100% get it. Like, because I think a couple months back when I was talking to somebody else, and I said to them, I wouldn't want my children to grow up religious. Like, I just wouldn't, And I'm looking at it from the obviously the negative point of view. Like, I do say in my podcast that it's not always negative. It's not always a negative outlook. It's not always a negative experience when a child is brought up religious, because there are certain things that come with it. But we must remember that being religious doesn't equal morals, It doesn't mean that just because the person is a religious person that they're going to have like morals and stuff like that. Absolutely not. So you need to teach your child good morals either way. Sorry, the light has just gone down on this. Let me try and see if I can make it come up just a little bit. Okay, so my internet is slow, so please bear with me. So anyway, it doesn't necessarily mean that because you are religious, or you bring up your children religious, that all of a sudden your child is going to be a good person, because I think we've all seen time and time again that is not the case. Okay, just because a person is religious doesn't mean they have good morals. It doesn't mean they're a good person. It doesn't mean that their sense of judgment is going to be more sound than that of people who are not religious. So I basically went into, my internet is really acting up. I basically just went into the reasons that I wouldn't want my children to grow up in a religious kind of house, really, because like when I was little, it was always like forced upon you. You have to go to church, you must read the Bible, you must pray, you must do all these kind of things, and your worth is attached to how much of this. There we go. Hello. Yeah, your worth, your sense of self-worth, your sense of self, your chances of going to heaven, and this God accepting you, this God that's meant to love you unconditionally because he's the one that's created you. This God cannot accept you unless you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that, you follow this specific amount of rules. And, I think it can bring a lot of self-doubt, self-esteem issues, low self-worth kind of issues, because you're not fully ever going to be really confident in yourself and know exactly who you are and confident in who you are, except if it's attached to this external being, so you're always living your life just trying to impress this being that you can't really fully impress. Like nobody has ever 100% just impressed this being. Like it's never been done before. So why, why would I encourage my children to deplete themselves and start feeling bad about themselves, that they're not good enough? No matter what they do, they're not good enough. Oh, okay, even if they followed 9 of the commandments, or, you know what I mean? They cover their heads when they go into the worship area, or, they do, all of these kind of religious practices. But it's never going to be enough, because as human beings, we are always, always, always going to fall short. We are always going to fall short. So I don't understand why I would want my kids to feel like they're not good enough. Why? Do you know what I mean? They're not good enough. They're never going to measure up. They're never going to be 100% accepted by this being that's meant to love them 100%. It's like, even in a parent-child scenario, if you continue to criticize your child and tell them all of this, oh, okay, you got an A star in, French or whatever, but you didn't get a star in biology or whatever. Like, you're always bringing up the stuff that they're not good at. And eventually, they start to do that to themselves, When you criticize your child so much, eventually, they don't hate you, they hate themselves. Really. And that's what I mean by having low self-esteem, low self-worth, low kind of sense of self, that kind of, I want to live my life and I want to go out into the world and I want to do these things and experience these things. But then again, it's clashing with all my kind of, religious rules that are keeping me from doing this. I want to go out with my friends. Is that a religious thing to do? Is God going to be angry with me? Do I still have a place in heaven? Do you know what I mean? Oh, my friend, I want to have a drink, I want to have a bit of alcohol. Why not? Do you know what I mean? Am I now cancelled from heaven? Do you know what I mean? So it's just that thing of just raising my kids anyway, being open to everything, being open to absolutely everything, instead of just drumming their minds into this one way of thinking. Tally, okay, go and put it on the table, please. Yeah? Go and put it on the table. Close the door, please. Thanks. Yeah? I don't want my children to be stuck in this mindset that this is the only way to think. This is the only thing to do. This is the only way to do things. This is the only way this is the only way that. I don't want them to be stuck in this, I'm never going to be good enough kind of situation. So I would like to open my child up to all forms. Okay, Tally, go and turn on the light. Yeah? Close the door, please. Yeah? I want to open my children up to all sorts of, religions, spirituality, different kind of roots that they could, find some kind of connection and understanding, and know that they are, a part of something larger. They're a part of the universe. They're a part of, creation, humanity, that kind of thing. And that's what I really want to drum into my children, that no matter what, like, as they were born, as they came into this earth, they are automatically citizens of this land. They're automatically human beings. They're a part of humanity. Like, it doesn't matter about their kind of lack of religious, what do they call it? Rituals, essentially, or rules, or what have you. It doesn't matter if they don't do those things, because they are already accepted. They're already enough, despite of whatever they might believe, or if they go to the temple, or if they go to the mosque, or if they go to the synagogue, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're still loved, you're still accepted, you're still a part of this universe, you're still a part of this creation. I wouldn't want my children to feel less than because they're not following a bunch of rules. I did bring another example up on my podcast about, one of my friends who is married to a man who's a different religion to her, right? And, okay, Tally, that's nice. She's married to a guy that's a different religion from her. And to a lot of people, they would be like, why are you marrying someone? Even like both families were not really happy about it initially. You can't date somebody who's a different religion from you. You can't do. Okay, Tally, yes, you can have the cookie.
Get my chair.
Yes, you can do that. Yeah. Initially, the families were like really against it. Why would you marry a girl who's not a Muslim? She needs to be, I don't know what they call it or whatever, but respectable Muslim woman, that's what you should be going after, not these wayward Christian girls. So they were really against it initially. Okay, Tally, go and give one to Justice. Okay, go and give one to Justice now. Yeah? Can you close the door, Tally? Here we go. So, so she's actually dating. Tally, I told you to close the door.
Get Justice.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I wouldn't want them to grow up like that. So my friend, she's been married for 11 years, right? And some of these women, who are, some of the family members or whatever, used to come at her, no, you can't marry a Muslim man or whatever. Even their marriages are falling apart because people think that, especially in the Christian kind of world, they kind of have this scripture, oh, you cannot be unequally yoked, and in a lot of people's mind or interpretation, or certainly the way they preach it in religious institutions, is you cannot date somebody who is not the same religion as you. But that is not always the definition of being unequally yoked. My friend and her husband are equally yoked. Why are they equally yoked? They don't believe the same thing, but they're equally yoked because they have the same level of understanding. She has respect for his connection, his way of connecting to the Creator, and he has equal respect for her being connected to the Creator. She believes in Jesus Christ and he believes in Allah. He doesn't force her to go to the mosque. She doesn't force him to go to the church. But if they need to go there to support one another, they'll do that because they have that equal understanding and respect for what the other person believes. So I was saying to her, I think that's amazing, like for your kids, because you're teaching them that, okay, mummy has a different outlook on life, or, the Creator or the universe or what have you, or God or whatever. And daddy has a different kind of, attitude towards it. He does, the whole Ramadan fasting and, going to the mosque every Friday and all of that. He does it all, And he was even saying the other day, he feels like his connection to Allah has even strengthened since he's actually, gotten married to, his Christian wife. So I was like, that's amazing for your kids, because they can look left and right and say, okay, she believes this, he believes that, but they're still together. They still respect each other. They're going to go out into the world and respect everybody, irrespective of their views. You can believe in Allah, you can believe in Krishna, you can believe in the Buddha, you can believe in Jesus, like whatever, but you're having a kind of a level of respect for absolutely everybody. It doesn't matter what you believe. I'm going to see you as a human being first. Because in black and white, we're all just humans, We're all just humans. And I want my children to be human first. I want them to be a part of humanity first. I want to teach them empathy. I want to teach them good morals. That doesn't mean that I have to bring them up religious to have good morals. Because as we've seen time and time again, some religious people do not have good morals. So it's not because, okay, Tally, it doesn't mean necessarily that because you're religious, you're going to have good morals, because, some religious people have lied, stolen, cheated, manipulated, abused, done the world of it and claim to be religious, whereby you've got somebody who's like a, atheist or agnostic or what have you, not necessarily interested in doing these set of rules and stuff like that. And they have more heart than those who claim to be religious. So, just in closing, that's just why I just don't want to bring up my kids to be religious. I think they'll have a more deeper acceptance of people. I want my children to be lovers of people, I want them to go out and not necessarily think, oh, because this person doesn't believe the same thing as me, I can't love them, I can't help them, I can't, do you know what I mean? I can't go out there and show them love, show them, be there for them, essentially. And I want that for my kids, to just be open to everybody and not just close themselves off to like just being exclusive to religion, that kind of thing. So have a listen to the podcast. It'll be coming out in about 20 minutes. Okay, it'll be on Anchor FM. It'll be on what's the other one? Let me try and see if I can get them all up here. It'll be on Anchor FM. It will be on Spotify. It will be on Apple Music. It will be on... Let me see what else it will be on. Hold on a minute. It'll be on all of these platforms that I am trying to let you know right now. Got this little kid climbing on my bed. Okay, I am actually really not good at these kind of things. Okay, so we've got Apple Podcasts, we've got Breaker, we've got Google Podcasts, we've got Overcast, we've got Pocket Casts, Radio Public, obviously Spotify, Apple Music, and that's about it. You can send me a voice message if you listen through the Anchor webpage or Anchor app or what have you. You can listen through there if you want, and you can send me a voice message if you have any kind of views that you want to share, or just anything that you want to say. If you're not already, follow me on Instagram at Zara Black, and on YouTube, I think, as well.